Good morning, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Saxe, this beautiful Sunday morning, February 28th, 2021. Let's take a deep breath together. And then exhale. Inhale again. Hold it at the top. Exhale. And as you continue to breathe deeply, relaxing body, mind, spirit, know that breath is life and life is breath. Knowing that we are all one love, one peace. We are harmony, we are unity. We are one energy from the one source that is goodness, from the one source that is love, from the one source that is peace. We are inextricably bound together in love. And as we breathe in love, and we breathe out love. We breathe in peace, and breathe out peace. Knowing that this energy, this life that we are, is inexhaustible. It is infinite. It is overflowing, and it animates all of life. Synchronizes all of life. And so we rest in this goodness. We rest in life. Knowing that all things are working for good. Knowing and affirming that everything is indeed always working out for us. That we are the answer to the prayer, whatever it is we pray. For we are divine beings. Part and parcel of the same energy that created the heavens and the earth. This is the foundation of our peace, the foundation of our loving, our living, and our giving. So in this spirit of oneness and harmony and unity, we now sing our centering song, Spirit's Prayer.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without, all I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
Now let's enfold in our arms and our hearts all those precious little beings we call children, and let's bless them together. Children of light, we see you guided and directed by an inward spirit that leads you into the path that is right for you. We see you strong and whole. We see you blessed and prospered. We see you courageous and confident. We see you as the spiritually perfect beings you truly are. Children of light, we bless you.
And now I'm going to read the daily word for us today, which is connection. I honor my connection with all people, no matter how great the distance that exists between me and the people I care about. I know we are connected by our love for one another. We are one and identical in our divinity. Today, I renew and strengthen this connection by reaching out, even if it's only to let someone know I am thinking of them. Our connection is kept strong through meditation and prayer. As I meditate, I reinforce my awareness of our divinity. As I pray for those I care about, I bless them by holding my highest visions for their lives, seeing them as healthy, prosperous, happy, and fulfilled. Whether we are in frequent contact or have fallen out of touch, my connection with my loved ones remains strong because we are one and identical in our divinity. So let's repeat 3 times. I honor my connection with all people. I honor my connection with all people. I honor my connection with all people.
believe in love, it's all we've got. Love has no boundaries, costs nothing to touch. War makes money, cancer sleeps curled up in my father, and that means something to me. Churches and dictators, politics and papers, everything crumbles sooner or later, but love, I believe in love. I believe in love, it's all we've got. Love has no boundaries, no borders to cross. Love is simple, but hate breeds. Those who think different is the child of disease. Fathers and sons make loving guns, but families together can kill someone without love. But I believe in love. Without love, I wouldn't believe in anything that lives and breathes. Without love, I'd have no anger. I wouldn't believe in my right to stand here. Without love, I wouldn't believe, I couldn't believe in you, and I wouldn't believe in me without love. I believe in love. I believe in love. I believe in love. Let's take a breath together. So I love to read. I have always loved to read, even from when I was a very little girl. My mother used to take us to the library every weekend, and I would bring home a big stack of books to read. In fact, my mother always loved to tell me that when she was pregnant with me, she read voraciously. And every single spare moment she had, she would read, even if it were the back of a cereal box. Reading has always been my way to escape. When I'm stressed out, when life gets too much, I love to just dig myself into a novel and get lost in the story. And I get to know the characters, and I feel like they're a part of me. And sometimes, even when I get close to the end of the book, I start to slow down a bit because I don't want to end. And I don't want to end this relationship I feel like I have with these characters. And I have favorite authors. My go-to authors that I always know will give me a great read, and I read them all the time. When I just need something, I can't find something to read, I'll think of these 4, 5, or 6 authors, and I go find one of their books. Sometimes I will read one of their books over again. So I was in the midst of one of my favorite authors' books the last couple of weeks. And probably Wednesday or Thursday evening of this past week, I was reading and really engrossed in the book. And I love how the characters in this particular story were developed. I love how she develops all of her characters. So I'm really feel like I'm in step with all of them, and I was certainly for this book, and I really didn't want to put it down, so it was late at night, and I really just wanted to keep on reading, and I did. So there's 2 black women who are characters in this book. The first one was characterized as big, imposing, and loud, and boisterous, which is a stereotype for black women. And so I kind of took that in stride, and I thought, okay, we all have stereotypes, and stereotypes show up in movies and books and everywhere else, and the stories and the ways that we experience life. Later on in the book, in the section I was reading a couple of days ago, a second black character was introduced into the story, and she's a judge. And she also was characterized as very large, imposing, intimidating. She was characterized as striking fear in everyone who came near her. So this stereotype was deepened even further. And so it kind of pricked in my head, my radar kind of went up, and I thought, okay, here we are again. As she continued to describe this character, there was a sentence that stopped me in my tracks. The character is thinking about a trial over which she will preside the next day. And she's thinking about the 2 lawyers, a prosecutor and the defense attorney that will be before her. And she's aware that they are both white men. And she says to herself, they don't know what's coming. And that they will be standing before and arguing before a big, bad, black bitch. And I was speechless, like I am right now. I think the word bitch is probably one of the worst things you can call a woman. For some reason, I think it's because this was one of my favorite authors, that this felt personal to me. That it wasn't even that another character hurled that name at her. She was thinking of that herself, and suddenly I felt the pain of someone who would describe themselves in that way. And I also felt the pain of anyone who has ever been called something like that. I almost didn't want to finish the book because I was angry now. And I had to close it for a minute. And I put it down. And I said something to my husband because I just had trouble swallowing that and moving on. Something wouldn't let me drop that and move on. And so I told him about what was said in the book and just vented for a bit. And he listened. Bless him. He just listened to me. And then I took some more deep breaths. And I kept reading. But in the back of my mind, I'm still hearing those words. And here, I was feeling those words. I read on in the book and finally stopped at some point and went to bed. The next morning, that feeling was still in my chest for some reason. And it's interesting, as I work on this peace initiative, where I'm going to be talking to people about bringing peace into every single corner of their lives, bringing light to all of your pain so that you can be at peace with it. I knew that I needed to bring peace to what happened to me when I read that sentence the night before. So in my meditation the next morning, and I got quiet, the tears just started to roll. And I felt sadness for women, for black women, for any woman who's ever been called that word. Whether they, again, refer to themselves that way or someone else had the audacity to call them that. I grieved for our nation at a time when we are feeling and experiencing so much divisiveness. I cried for our history that is tangled up and almost decimated by a history of racism. But I also cried for a world in which there is divisiveness over many things, judgment about many things, stereotypes. Every single group has a stereotype. And I'm sure there's not a group that is immune to those stereotypes and someone hurling them at them or thinking it about themselves because they're so used to hearing the messages from someone else. So I knew it wasn't enough just to be in my meditation and feel the emotion. I think that was the first step in having some healing in my own heart, and then being able to find a way to guide and lead others to finding peace around the same issue later. So I felt free to be in my emotion. My sadness, my grief, my anger, my frustration, and I just let it flow through quietness and then through a physical workout, because my body was just cluttered with all of that negativity. I feel it now because I had to speak those words out loud. I felt it all this morning because I knew this talk was coming, and I knew I was going to say those words, those 4 ugly words, out loud. And then I had to go back and think about this author of this book, knowing that I don't know who she is. I don't know where that sentence came from, because certainly the character in this book was anything but those 4 things. She was characterized like that in the beginning. And what she was during this trial in this book was good at what she does. She was strong, she was decisive, she was pragmatic, she was fair, she had a sense of humor, she was open, she was anything but a big bad black bitch. But that's how she was characterized. She was anything but that. And so when you think of things that are gratuitous, that description of her certainly was. It had no place in that, because she didn't show up as that. I could see perhaps if in the book, if within the story, she expressed or behaved like those 4 words. But she wasn't. But perhaps, I think, because she was black, that's how she was characterized. So I had to do my own processing with my favorite author and this feeling. I think it's important once we get through our emotion about this, once we let go of what we're feeling about hate and division, it was necessary for me then to separate the deed, the words, from the person who wrote them. Because as long as I was willing to keep the two together, I could find no love for her in my heart. I don't know who she is. I don't know what her experience is of people who don't look like her. I looked to see when this book was written. It was written in 2001. She might be a different person now in 2021 than she was in 2001. Her characterizing that woman on those pages may have nothing to do with who she is as a person, apart from who she is as an author, because she is a woman herself. She is a child of God, as am I, as are all of us. And she is an author. Author is something she does. And so I had to separate the deed from the doer. And then I looked at her picture on the back of the book. And I spoke to her. And I affirmed that she too is connected to me, as I did in the beginning of this service, when we ground ourselves and we remember, remind ourselves who and what we are, and that we are all one, and that we are one energy, one goodness, one love. And I repeated that over and over and over and over and over and over until I could let go of what I was feeling about her. And I said it over, and I said it out loud, and I cried some more, and I walked around, and I put distance, sometimes I felt like physical distance between me and that experience. I probably will have to repeat the process again, because now that I'm talking about this, I'm feeling it again. I'm feeling separation from her. If I'm going to walk my talk, I can't feel separation from her. I can't, and I don't want to. I don't want to feel this for her or anybody else, no matter what they have perpetrated against me or any of you or anyone else. We are all beloved souls. We are all one. She is my sister. And yes, I have love for her. I think our spirituality is the answer to what's happening in this world right now. Love is the answer for everything, even this. But as with everything else, it's an inside job. We cannot keep looking to our leaders in the government to solve this problem. It is our problem. It is our problem. Everyone who has been hurt must find a way to heal if this is going to go away. And we have to go through this process of healing as many times as it takes until it works. I probably will have to revisit that process of venting my emotion, separating deed from doer, affirming my oneness with her, with whomever I feel has perpetrated something against me. Affirm my oneness with them and love them as I love myself. Love them as I love myself. Love them as I love myself. Each and every one of us, if we are going to find peace, it's an inside job. If we want harmony and unity in this country, in this world, it's an inside job. Thank you. If we want hate to disappear, to dissipate, to flow out of our hearts and out of existence, it's an inside job. I just listened to a YouTube video where someone was interviewing Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop, who fought for peace and harmony in South Africa after apartheid. I better keep this. He said that when Nelson Mandela was released from prison, if he had come out hateful and vengeful looking for retribution, their country would now be in ashes. All-out war would have happened. But what they had was a man, a leader who showed up with peace and love in his heart. Peace and love in his heart, wanting only harmony and unity. Someone who forgave his own jailers, the very person who gave him a hard way to go every single day for 30 years. That's the kind of peace and harmony and work that has to happen within each of us to take care of what's happening in this country and in this world right now. We've got to do the work inside. I still have work to do inside. I've got corners of myself that are still in darkness because that sentence knocked me off of my center for a time. And it sent me reeling. How many people are reeling because of hate right now? And it's not somebody else's job. It's not the president's job. It's not Congress's job. It's our job. Our job. If we have been hurt, we got to be willing to lay down the hatchet and be open and say, I don't need retribution. I don't even need to hear you say, I'm sorry. Because some people are not going to say, I'm sorry. Not everybody's ready for it. If our healing is predicated on somebody else doing something, we'll never heal. Because sometimes we'll never see it. Some of you know some of the things you've had to forgive did not come because somebody said, I'm sorry. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And if we're going to wait, if we're going to hold our breath, we'll be blue in the face and dead before it comes, because there are going to be some people who probably don't want to go there or can't go there right now. who just can't go there right now. You know what? And that's okay. Because we're all on a path. We all are on a journey. We all have work to do, and we do it in our own time when it's right for us. But I have to believe, I do believe, that there's goodness at the back of everything, or this experience the other night would have taken me out. And it was just a sentence in a book. Nobody said that to me. I've had ugly things said to me in my life. That got me. That sentence in a book about somebody else, about a character in a book, knocked me off of my center. People are getting knocked off their centers all the time by hate. But love is the answer. Love, love, love. The kind of love that comes from God. Not this swirly, make me feel good, oh, I love you right now kind of love. The love that bears all things, heals all things, harmonizes all things, forgives all things. All things. All things. All things. All things. All things. All things.
It's not an easy thing to do.
Love can heal a heart. Love is healing my heart. Love can heal each and every heart. Love can heal a nation. Love can heal the world. But we got to be ready to love in ways we have never been called to love before. And it is work. It is work. We got a lot of work to do, people. A lot of work to do. I didn't know that corner of me existed. But I asked, as I began this journey towards peace and started putting together this peace initiative, I asked to be shown where are the pieces of me that need light beamed in. Show them to me. Because I'm ready to be healed.
Thank you so much.
I am ready to be healed. And when you ask the question, the answer comes. Part of me did not want this experience. Because when I said those 4 words that were written in that book, I felt like I had acid in my mouth. And that acid went down in my chest and the rest of my body. I want to heal from that. Because if it can rise up like that, it means it existed somewhere in my body like that, and I was unaware. 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 So many of us are unaware of what's laying in our hearts. Do you have the courage to open it up and let the light shine in? Do you have the courage to look at it, feel it, and heal it? Do the work necessary to heal so that you can, so that I can be a beacon of light for somebody else. There are some who've been carrying hate in their hearts, whether perpetrator or victim. for a very long time. A very long time. They will need the light that we are to help them heal. We can't do it by ourselves. It is a human problem. Humanity has to solve it. We can't give it away as much as we would like to say that somebody else can do it. We can't legislate it. Sure, we can set the groundwork, but that does not mean a single heart has been healed. It says that there's a law against something, and that there's some way to have redress regarding that issue, but it cannot heal a heart. We have to heal our hearts. My heart is healing. And I pray that all of your hearts are healing from whatever pain, whatever hate you have ever felt from the time you took your first breath. My prayer is that every single heart in this nation, every single heart in this world gets healed. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm in it for the long haul. Even if I have to do it till my last breath. I will step forward in love every single chance I get. And whenever there's work to do, I will do the work. Yes, love is the answer. Our spirituality is the answer. We got to know that we are one for this to work. If we're still thinking us and them, black and white, brown versus non-brown, white versus non-white, categories, boxes, checking off things. This group that doesn't do that. That group can't do that. This group always does this. We got to stop it. Stop it, and stop it in its tracks. And we all have biases. We've all grown up with something that needs to be healed, something that we need to get rid of, something that we need to let go of and say, I will not think, say, or do that anymore. Forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves for our transgressions, for falling short of our divinity when we deal with each other, when we think about each other. We've all done it. We've all been there. So we can't look at another and say they're guilty and we're not, because we all have biases.
You know, last week, that was something that I was hearing very strongly, was from the Holy Spirit, where, you know, he was saying like, or it was saying, you know, ask me permission to talk, to speak, and then I'll let you know if what you're saying is correct. You know, and before any word, and Dia, you know, we talked and we were like, she goes, well, how can you ask? I said, I don't know, but that's what he told me to do. You know, before I open my mouth
Yes.
and put my foot in it, he goes, and that's exactly how he said, before you stick your foot in your mouth, man, ask me permission and see if I tell you it's all right to say it, then, man, you got to go ahead.
And that in itself is a first important step, because so many of us need to let the light shine through it, yes, before we open our mouths and say a thing. And so, yes, what a perfect prayer. Before I part my lips to speak, speak for me, God. That's perfect, Pete. Yes. Before I say a thing, speak divinity only. Speak love only. Think, say, and do only. When you wake up in the morning, love speak through me. Work through me. Think through me. That I may start healing and heal this world.
That's what I want.
Yes. We want to be aware. We want to be that instrument of peace and unity and harmony. And it's got to start inside us, each and every one of us, and nobody's exempt. And as soon as somebody starts walking around saying it's not me, they're probably a dead ringer, and they've got some stuff to work on. Because then you've already said, I'm different than you because I'm better. Nobody's better. Just like the Daily Word said today, we are identical in our divinity. Identical in our divinity.
You know, Kim, the book that made you angry, just a couple of weeks ago, there was a program on TV that was driving for black. I was so angry because that applies to every race. And my son, Michael, was what do you call it? Anyway, coming home from work, he used to be a chef at the Hilton. And coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning, he was actually taken to jail for no reason at all, just for being Hispanic, okay? At 2 o'clock in the morning, he was tired, and he kind of swore a little bit. And then, yeah. So I was so angry that one of the times that in church, you had one of the lessons was very soothing and very, how can I say, impartial. And it was what I needed to hear. But even now, it's been 2 or 3 weeks when that show was, and I still have that, a little bit of that anger. So I know exactly.
Yeah. Love is the answer.
That's it.
Love is the answer. Love is the answer. And if it comes up again and somebody asks, can we do this? We say, love is the answer. Love is the answer. And it can't be somebody else's job. It has to be our job. It's our job. It is our job to heal. It is our job to love. It's our job. Let's take this into meditation. As we breathe together, one breath, one life. We ground ourselves in oneness. We ground ourselves in the one love, the one energy, the one thing, the one force that heals all things. In pure potentiality, each one of us is that love. And we have the power to shine it within ourselves, within our communities, within our nation, and around this world. have the power to lay down our pain, our frustration, our anger, to let it flow out of us, and to be open to love. To find it first within ourselves and beam it out into the world. This love is infinite, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. There is nowhere that love is not. We have only to call it forth. Call it to show up in our words, to show up in our thoughts, to show up in our deeds. We call it forth so that when hate shows its face, we are there to heal it and to restore harmony to everyone involved. We now ask for the strength and the wisdom that wherever we see hate, we show up as love. Even if we are just holding the space for love. We stay grounded in this love, this peace, this harmony, knowing that goodness is truly at the back of all things. It is the underpinning, the underlayment of all things. When we feel the darkness of hate, we immediately call upon love. We call upon love. We call upon ourselves as love. We see everyone in love as love. Everyone, everyone, everyone. Everyone. Everyone is love, whether they know it or not. And so we step forward now in love, as love, in this moment, in every single moment, moving forward until we take our last breath. Let's just breathe love here and now, breathing in and breathing out. Nothing but love, in and out. Love heals all things, bears all things, forgives all things, harmonizes all things. Love, love, love. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.
Oh, wow. Great.
Shake it off, shake it off. Whew. So as we prepare for our offertory, and a very special song from one of our own, we know that our prosperity, our abundant living, comes from Spirit, comes from God, comes from love, and is born in love, is grounded in love, and it too is infinite and overflowing. And with this instilled in our hearts and in our minds, we now recite our celebration of giving. As me blesses and multiplies all the good that I am and have, all the good that I give and receive, and so it is. That good?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Reverend Kim picked a song that is going to get your feet stomping and your heart pumping, and it gives me a lung workout like you have no idea. All right, so let's dive in.
There you go.
We're diving, Quentin. Long-awaited rains have fallen hard upon the thirsty ground, carved their way to where the mild rushing river can be found. Like the rains, I have been carried here to where the river flows. Yeah. My heart is racing and my knees are weak as I walk to the edge. I know there is no turning back once my feet have left the ledge. And in the rush, I hear a voice telling me it's time to take a leap of faith. So here I go, I'm diving in, I'm going deep in. Over my head I wanna be caught in the rush, washed in the flow. In over my head I wanna go. The river's deep, the river's wide, the river's water is alive. So sink or swim, I'm diving in. I'm diving in. There is a supernatural power in this mighty river's flow. It can bring the dead to life, and it can fill an empty soul and give a heart the only thing worth living and worth dying for. Yeah. We will never know the awesome power of the grace of God till we let ourselves get washed away into this holy flood. So if you'll take my hand, close our eyes and count to three, take a leap of faith, come on, let's go. I'm diving in, I'm going deep in. Over my head I wanna be caught in the rush, washed in the flow. In over my head I wanna go. The river's deep, the river's wide, the river's water is alive. So sink or swim, I'm diving in. I'm diving in. Oh, I'm diving in. Yeah, yeah. I'm diving in. Here I go. river's deep, the river's wide, the river's water is alive. So sink or swim, I'm diving in, and I'm going deep. In over my head, I wanna be caught in the rush, lost in the flow. In over my head, I wanna go. The river's deep, the river's wide, the river's water is alive. So sink or swim, I'm diving in. So sink or swim, I'm diving in. So sink or swim, I'm diving in. 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 I'm diving in.
The river's water is alive. So I sink or swim, I'm diving in. Thank you, Vicki. So with that high energy, that loving energy, that appreciative energy, let's call the names of those for whom we want to pray today.
Deborah, Vicky, James, John, Joseph, Dorothy, Marilyn,
Judy and Paul, Fred and Tess,
Reuben,
Jan, Ruben, Eddie.
Jan,
Sylvia,
Yes, me, please.
Diaz family, and my beautiful family. I love them so much. Thank you, Father.
My vote.
Yes. Her boat motor, hopefully Father find her a nice little boat so her husband will be happy.
For Danielle and Tony,
Yes.
for Heather, for Neil, Melissa,
Our beautiful congregation.
for PJ and Melinda, Melinda's mother, for Lainey and Alexis,
for Tiffany,
for all those who had problems in their homes after the deep freeze
Yes, Lord. Thank you.
and now have to deal with insurance and repairs, financial matters. For all those who are dealing with grief, navigating grief on a daily basis, for all those experiencing hate, for all those who are perpetrating hate. We know that their highest and best is at work in their lives right now. That there is goodness, love, peace, harmony, and abundance within us, around us, and overflowing into our lives. And so we hold the high watch of prayer for all of these souls that we have named, and even those whose names we may not have said out loud, but who live in our hearts and our minds. All is well. All is love. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. So we just have a couple of announcements. This coming Tuesday was going to be our last book study class, but we're extending it one more day. I'm sorry, Quentin, to March 9, because we decided that we wanted to read the section of the book that had to do with joyful practices and see what practices we did not know about that we may want to bring into our lives and explore further about how to make joy something that we are and something that we do. So we're going to be taking the book study through March 9. So again, we'll be on Zoom. The link is on Facebook, and it's on our website as well. We still need Zoom techs, volunteer Zoom techs to assist us with meetings. Sometimes if we have to have Zoom here during service, but somebody who can handle the technical end while we are doing business and having gatherings together. Is that it, sir? And we are good. So let's go to our vision and mission, please, as we affirm who and what we are here at Unity Spiritual Center Saxe. Together, we are Unity Spiritual Center Saxe. We are a thriving global community of spiritual seekers, transforming lives through love and the expression of our innately divine gifts. Our mission is to inspire spiritual and personal growth through the teaching and demonstration of unity principles toward the realization of living our best lives. Divine wisdom is at work in every area of our lives right now. Everything is always working out for us. Thank you very much for spending your Sunday with us. It is your love, your energy that makes this the most wonderful place to be on Sunday mornings. Thank you to everyone who joined us remotely. Your energy and presence is very important to us, and we were glad you were here with us. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful Sunday and a glorious week. Namaste.
Namaste.